pasta dough freaks people out. They find it incredibly intimidating. So I'm gonna show you how to make the easiest pasta dough with things you already have in your house, and you're gonna be a pasta making machine by the end of this class. So meet me in my kitchen, Chef Jill's Chop. See you there. All right, so fresh pasta dough. You're gonna look online and you're gonna see 10,000 different recipes for 10,000 different pasta doughs, and there's so many different flours you can use, and some only use water, some only use eggs, it's all over the board. This is how I make mine. It's so simple and it's inexpensive. It costs nothing to make and it comes together very, very well. So I'm gonna show you how to make great pasta dough. First of all, I'm using all-purpose flour. You can get the semolina flour, you can get the durum flour, all these fancy flours. I just use all-purpose. It works for me. So I'm gonna do like 2 cups. And yes, right now someone's going to say, why aren't you weighing that and sifting it? And I don't got time for that. So we're gonna do 2 cups, little like, kind of like a, 2-ish cups. It's not like perfectly level, it's fine. 2 cups of flour on a clean surface. And then I take my measuring cup and I just make this little well in the middle there. See that now? Easy peasy. Now, eggs. So people will ask me all the time. I got a couple questions for it in a cooking class yesterday. What are things to splurge on and what are things not to splurge on at the grocery store? To me, good eggs are a thing to splurge on. So that's just me. I like to get organic pasture-raised eggs. Yes, are they $5? Yes, they are, but so is a Starbucks coffee. So it's all relative. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna do 2 full eggs to start with. See how orange that yolk is, by the way? That's what happens when you get organic pasture-raised eggs. Yolks are supposed to be orange. Just throwing that out there. It's difficult, man. I look at it in the grocery store and I'm like, oh, that's only 49 cents for that dozen. But I think about it and so much better. Now I'm gonna do 4 egg yolks, okay? So I like a pasta dough that has a lot of yellow richness, and that's where the yolks come in. I've made pasta dough 1,000 different ways, often using whole eggs, but I have found that I like it better with 2 whole eggs and then, oh, come back here, my little friend. See, if you mess up a little bit, don't stress about it, just add it in. We're gonna balance it out. See how that one broke like that? Don't even stress. So now I've got 4 egg yolks and I've got 2 whole eggs. Now, you're gonna see in a lot of these videos that they pour the eggs directly in there and start whisking them. I'm taking that out. I whisk them first. It makes life a little bit easier. Look how beautiful that is. It's so orange. And I'm gonna add a little bit of olive oil. Like, I don't know, just a dash, just do a dash. A little dash of olive oil. It's probably like a teaspoon-ish, somewhere in there. And I mix that all up right here so that way I don't have to do it in there. And then we need a good pinch of salt in here. I don't measure it. When I say pinch, people always grab with 2 fingers. Pinching for me is legit like 4 fingers. I want big pinches of salt in there. Just seasoning it up. And now pour your eggs right in the middle, just like that. So now the goal here is to slowly incorporate the flour. I'm just gonna keep my whisk and use that. You can use a fork, you can use your fingers, you can use chopsticks for all I care. Just somehow get the flour in there. So we don't want egg running all over. So what you do is just start gently taking the sides of that flour, working it in. If for some reason your egg starts sliding out, just grab that flour, bring it back in, but don't rush this step. Just very gently bring the sides in. That's gonna thicken up those eggs. Slowly incorporating the salt in there that was in the flour as well. So even seasoning. See that now? The well's getting a little wider. This is getting thicker, so it's not as big of a mess to worry about. And then once you have a decent, base going here, I just kind of start gently bringing in the sides. Just like that. And then you can whisk it a little more, because now it's nice and thick. I'm actually going to ditch the whisk here. Don't need that anymore. So one of the things I think you do, I'm not huge into like 1,000 different kitchen tools in my kitchen, but I do love a bench scraper. They're like 10 bucks on Amazon. Just grab one and just start kind of bringing this together. I love it because it scrapes from the bottom so you're not left with eggs stuck to the bottom of your board here or your clean surface. And just start bringing it slowly together. Start mashing it up. That's all we're looking to do. Now, Eggs and flour react differently at different times of the year, right? Think about how dry your skin is in the winter time, right? I'm coming at you from Green Bay, Wisconsin, and my skin is like sandpaper at all times. Your flour, your eggs, things are gonna react to the different moisture in the air. So you might make this and it might be dry in the winter, and then you use this exact pasta recipe and it's, too wet and you have to add a little flour in the summer. Just adjust. Don't worry about it. And you don't know how big the eggs are. I might have used a different size egg today than I did last time. So just kind of adjust. Right now I've got a nice little shaggy dough going on here, and I think that it might be a smidge too dry. So what I'm gonna do, you'll see all these different pasta recipes that say add a little water. I could drizzle this with a little water. It makes it a little difficult to incorporate in. So what I do is I take this beautiful green spray bottle that I use to shape my kids' hair in the morning when I comb their hair, and I just, like 2 or 3 spritz over the top. That will gently start adding moisture in. And now with your hands, start scrunching it. Start scrunching it together and see how we feel about it. My dog's making a lot of noise in the background. I apologize. He's old and can't move very well, and he's stuck on the hardwood. You doing all right, Kobe? All right, so I'm just gently bringing this together. Now, I saw an old video 100 years ago of Gordon Ramsay making pasta dough, and he would grab these little bits and throw them in because he would go, that looks like a noodle, I'm not losing a noodle, and he'd throw it in there. Now, every time I see those little bits, I go, I'm not losing a noodle, so I add it right in. And now we're just gonna start gently pushing it together, and let's see how we feel about it. Is it a big, dry, shaggy mess? Is it too wet and is it sticking to your hands? If it is, add just a little dusting of flour, just a little bit at a time. This is starting to come together really well. I would say it's still pretty shaggy, but I'm gonna knead it for about 1 more minute and see if I need to add any more water or if it loosens up on us, because all we're doing now is developing the gluten. That's all we wanna do right now, develop that gluten, so that way you have a nice, soft, pliable dough to work with. And honestly, this is pennies. This costs nothing. This is such a cheap thing to make. And like I said, this is how I relax. I relax on Sunday nights, usually making pasta Sundays for me. All right, so now it's coming together. I don't feel I'm gonna need any more of the water. And see how it's still a little shaggy like this? That's okay. That just means the glutens are developing. And now all we're gonna do is stretch it with the palm of your hand. And then I turn it and I fold it and I stretch it again. And I do this for about 8 to 10 minutes, okay? That's how it's all gonna start becoming super soft, super pliable. Like I said, if it's sticking to your hand, add a little flour. No big deal. You can even just flour your hands if you want to and do it again. So I'm gonna do this for about 8 to 10 minutes, and I will meet you back here when I'm done, so you don't have to sit here and stare at me doing this for 8 to 10 minutes. It's super boring. I'll meet you back here. Okay, so now my ball has come together here, and what you're looking for is, after I kneaded it for 8 to 10 minutes, push it. Does it pop back up on you? See how it's popping back up? That's what we're looking for. Now, if I were to try and roll this out right now, it would be impossible. You would be rolling it, it snapped back. Roll it, it snapped back. So no one's got time for that. So what we wanna do, just wanna wrap it up in a little plastic wrap and just let it hang out for a little while. Just like, if you're gonna roll it right away, I'd say let it sit for 10 to 20 minutes at least. Room temperature. If you're rolling it later, throw it in the fridge. Just wrap it tightly. And if it kind of gets a little bit of a gray color, don't stress. The water and flour and oxygen mix together and somehow turn gray. Science. Science happens. I mean, I'd explain it to you, but I mean, I don't want you to sit here and listen to all my, I don't know how it happens. So I'm gonna let that hang out for like 10 minutes. I'm gonna set up my roller. So I got the KitchenAid, I got the roller. I'm gonna show you how to roll this out. Fabulous. All right, so meet me back here after that's been sitting for a little bit. All right, so I got my KitchenAid set up here. You have a couple of options here. You can start cutting this up and rolling it with a rolling pin. I've done it a million times. It works great. Just roll it super thin. You can get a hand crank. You just put it on your table and you just crank it out. Works great. I've done it a million times. I'm gonna tell you the secret. Black Friday sales on Amazon or Woot or any of those will have the KitchenAid attachment mixer, and it's worth every stinking penny. This thing is magic. So let me show you what I got going on here. It comes with a couple different attachments. I'm gonna start with a flat one, and then we're gonna make linguine today. But it also has a spaghetti one. Anyway, I love these. I've got a sheet pan here. I'm gonna dust with a little flour to keep the pasta from sticking. And let's roll out some pasta. So we've let this sit for a little bit. Let those glutens just hang out. Relax. It'll roll so much smoother now. And all I'm going to do here, I'm going to cut this into 4 pieces. You can use a knife. You can use your little bench scraper here, whatever you want to do. And now the other 3 pieces I like to keep wrapped up so they don't dry out. It doesn't have to be perfect, but there we go. Now, you got your beautiful little pasta dough here. What I'm going to do is just kind of flatten it out a little bit, just so it goes through the pasta maker here way easier. And I like to hit it with a little bit of flour as well. And I'm starting at number 1. So just turn it on. I always kind of flatten one side more than the other. And let's just run it through number 1. Just let it do its thing. Look at this. I don't have to do anything. Keep on coming, my darling. I can probably speed it up a little bit. Going slow. Now, see how that's not beautiful? It's not super beautiful yet. So let's go ahead, fold it, fold it. We're looking to get a nice little square here. So I just kind of push it together. Let's do it again. Really pinch the end here. Put that in. Just let the pasta maker do all the work here. And I'll usually run it through number 1 one more time just to make sure. Now, go to number 2. It's not perfect. Look, there's little divots here. If you want to refold it and make it perfect again, you can. I don't think it's a big deal. I don't really got time for that. So I'm just going to keep going. We're going to number 2. Now we're going to go to number 3. And we're just making it thin. That's all we're doing. Thinning it out, letting it do the work. It's beautiful. That bright yellow, because of the yolks that we used, put me in a good mood. And if you're ever not happy, like if it gets crumpled on the side or anything like that, just run it through again. It's very, very forgiving. Now, I usually stop between a number 5 and a number 6. Oftentimes it'll be like, catch it on the back of your hands. You can absolutely do that. As you can see, I tend to go a little. So this is a 5 right here. It's about 1 millimeter thick. I think I'm going to go 6. I'm going to go a little bit thinner today. So I can see, I'm going to show you. I can see my fingers underneath that. And now your pasta's rolled out. I like to cut mine in half because usually my kids eat this and it makes it way easier. And I'm just going to go ahead and put it right on my pan right here. Now, I'm going to do all 4 of these, or the 3 that are remaining. But I'm going to show you how to make the linguine. So once you have your 4 rolled out nice and thin, you're then going to enter in, there's a linguine or a spaghetti one. I'm entering in linguine. This couldn't be easier. I'm telling you, worth every penny. And now, dust it with, keep that flour on there. I like to dust it just with a little more flour on each side. Shake off the excess. And just get her done. Look at that. It couldn't be easier. It's so easy. It's beautiful. And then that's why I have this sheet pan, because then you put it on the sheet pan. I'll use a little more flour on top and just kind of scramble it up a little bit. All right, get that extra flour off. Now I'm not concerned about all the flour on it because that's what's going to make us some really yummy pasta water, starchy, salty pasta water. Look at that. Gorgeous. Don't squish it together. That's what my kids always do. They grab it and they squish it. Keep it nice and loose. A little bit of flour. All right, so now I'm going to do the last 3 here and get them all out on my tray. If you want to see me actually cook this pasta, you need to go to a different YouTube video of mine. That is the perfect carbonara. I'm going to cook this, toss it with an amazing easy sauce that you will love. So meet me over there. Thank you. If you liked this video, please make sure to subscribe, make sure to like it, make sure to comment on it. Let me know if your pasta turned out. And hopefully I'll see you over at the other video for the carbonara. Here we go. All right. Are you ready?
I am.
Let's go.
Okay.
All right. This is fun. I find pasta making fun. Like, to me, this is relaxing. This is what I do on Sundays. I make big batches of pasta. I'd like you to know, my son just came out of the bathroom. He's been in there for a very long time playing Minecraft. You just got that on camera. It's fine. We're going to continue on. Here comes the frickin' dog. But now you're going to have to get my dirty floor. That's my dog who's 12, and he also is going to get in my shot. He can't turn around. He's too old. He'll figure it out eventually.